Hello and God's blessings upon all. I greet you with our traditional Ukrainian Catholic greeting, Glory be to Jesus Christ. Thank you for allowing me to spend a few moments with you. Today, I'd like to share with you something very important that happened some 80 years ago when our great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers were children. Imagine living in a country where there was so much wheat and corn and all kinds of other grains that no one had to worry about not having enough to eat. Well, in Ukraine, the homeland of my ancestors and that of many other Canadians, that's exactly what happened in the years 1932 and 1933. There was food in abundance, yet millions of people died of starvation. That time in history is called the Ukrainian famine, or simply Holodomor, which is a Ukrainian word meaning death by starvation. What happened and why? At that time, Ukraine was part of a large group of countries called the Soviet Union, with Russia as the ruling country. The government was run by the Communist Party. The leaders of the party put people to death who opposed them, or sent them to distant lands, such as Siberia, where they were left, often without food or shelter. The rulers wanted to crush the heart of the Ukrainian people, especially the farmers, who wanted to be free from the slavery that their parents and grandparents had known. So in the years 1932-1933, the people on the farms were told they had to produce a certain amount of grain, which was impossible to fulfill. Everything had to be sent to fill granaries in Russia. The government's policy was simple: seize the grain and let the peasants starve to death. Every handful of grain was collected. Anyone who refused paid huge fines or were put to death. For example, a farmer was put to death for hiding 20 kilograms of wheat. A woman was sentenced to 10 years of imprisonment for cutting ears of corn from her own garden. Another woman was sentenced to 10 years for picking 10 onions from a collective farm. Even children were arrested for gathering any grain that they might have escaped the eye of the authorities. Millions died from starvation, their lives stolen from them. Besides the Holodomor, in many other tragedies over the past 100 years, some say as many as 75 million lives were lost in wars and conflicts. One often wonders what this all means and where God is in the midst of human tragedy and suffering. So, what can we do? Understandably, it is easy to feel hopeless in the midst of so much darkness. Yet as Christians, we are people of hope. We cannot turn back the pages of history, but we can work towards a brighter future. Four things come to mind where we can help. First, prayer. At our schools and parishes, we can pray for the souls of the Holodomor victims and their families, and that the hearts and minds of world leaders turn to finding ways that we may live in peace, justice, and dignity as a human family. Second, education. We can learn more about the past and learn from our mistakes. That's why the province of Alberta declared the fourth Saturday of November Holodomor Memorial Day, in memory of the millions who died during the famine in Ukraine. And our Catholic schools commemorate this tragic event on the fourth Friday of each November. Social outreach and feeding the poor of today. Millions died from starvation during the Holodomor. Millions throughout the world today are dying from starvation. To honor their memory, we can feed the poor in our own communities by donating to the food bank, serving a meal at a soup kitchen, or distributing food hampers to local needy families. And fourth, advocacy. We can contact our local and federal government representatives to encourage them always to make decisions based on principles of reverence for all life, mutual respect, and the common good. In conclusion, this November, let us honor the memory of the millions who died during the Holodomor by prayerfully committing their souls to the Lord. As we say in Ukrainian, Vichna ye im pamyat, God grant them eternal memory. Let us also do our part to eradicate poverty by feeding the poor in our midst today, one mouth at a time. Thank you for letting me share these few thoughts with you. God's blessings be upon you and your families. Slava Isusu Christu. Glory be to Jesus Christ.